What's up everyone, Kumar here and I'm here today to answer a very important question for all of you. We all know that pilots are paid a lot of money, right? Captains get about 6 lakh rupees a month, first officers get anywhere between 2 to 3 to even 4 lakh rupees a month. And the question is, do pilots deserve that salary? Do we actually do work which justifies कि हमें महीने के 6 लाख रुपए या 3-4 लाख रुपए मिले? Today I'm gonna tell you guys why pilots absolutely deserve all that amount of money. So पहली बात तो ये है कि एक बहुत बड़ा ना misconception है that pilots don't do any work in the cockpit. They just engage the autopilot, sit there, read a newspaper, drink some coffee, थोड़े गप्पे वप्पे मार लिए and the aircraft will land. That is not how it goes. Our work as pilots starts well before you guys even reach the airport. So before we leave for a flight, we usually check the weather. We usually check our flight documents. घर पे आ जाते हैं आजकल with iPads and everything. Once we're done with all these preparations, we then proceed to the dispatch. Now dispatch is the office where we take a printout of all our flight documents and we get a briefing on the flight. Again, this is a part of preparation for the flight. Here we are getting mentally prepared कि आज की फ्लाइट में क्या क्या होने वाला है और वो फ्लाइट कैसे होने वाली है. Also here we meet our first officer or the captain and the crew who's flying with us. All of this is happening when you guys are reaching the airport. Now once we reach the aircraft, then we start off with our preparations for the aircraft, which normally include a series of checks where we check different systems, we set the aircraft up for takeoff. Now this varies from aircraft to aircraft, हर aircraft के अपने अलग procedures होते हैं, but we are working in the cockpit, doing all of that work, setting that entire complicated 800 crore aircraft to take off into the skies. Once the aircraft is completely set up, boarding is complete, all you passengers are on board, then we push back, we taxi the aircraft to the runway. Now during all of this time, we have a lot of workload. We are managing a lot of stuff, we are doing a lot of calculations, we are calculating performance of the aircraft, can it take off or not? If it can take off, what speeds will it take off at? Also, we calculate if the weight and balance of the aircraft is alright or not. We also start up the engines, do some more procedures on the aircraft, press a few more buttons here and there, and finally we reach the runway. Now when we reach the runway and we take off, again a takeoff is always manual. As of now, there are no aircrafts who are authorized to do an automatic takeoff, so you'll always find that the takeoff will be done by the pilot manually. Once the aircraft gets airborne, when all of you are sitting reading your magazines because you're not allowed to use your phones during takeoff, at that time again we are working quite a bit. You're flying in a very complicated environment where hundreds of other airplanes are also flying alongside you. So we have to take care of not crashing into another airplane. We have to take care that our aircraft is being safe, it's following all procedures, all regulations, all commands given by the air traffic control. Normally on a normal line flight, we usually engage the autopilot once the aircraft is airborne and is passing 1000-2000 feet, unless the pilot wants to fly the aircraft manually. Now once the autopilot is engaged, does not mean that everything will now be done by the aircraft. The autopilot only flies the aircraft. But flying is only one part of being a pilot. There is also the part of keeping you guys safe. The autopilot is flying, but we tell the autopilot what to do. Do we have to turn left? Do we have to turn right? Do we climb? Do we descend? How fast do we climb? How fast do we descend? All of this is told to the autopilot by us, the pilots who are sitting up there. So although the flight controls are being manipulated by the autopilot now, it's actually the pilots who are in control of the aircraft at all times. And then comes the matter of economy. Airlines are basically businesses whose main aim is to make profits. As a result, it's our responsibility as pilots to make sure that the aircraft consumes as little fuel as possible, and also we try and reach our destination on time or probably even before time. Now doing all of this again requires a lot of mental work. So although there is no physical work involved, the brain is continuously running. We are continuously monitoring all the systems on the aircraft. We are continuously monitoring all the autopilot functions. Also, we are in constant touch with the air traffic control. We are constantly thinking on how to save fuel. We are constantly talking to each other, briefing each other on whatever is happening on the flight. And now coming to the main reason why pilots are paid so much. And that is when things go wrong. As long as everything is going okay, it's not very difficult to fly an aircraft, very honestly. However, when things go wrong, that is where pilots come in. गाड़ी में कुछ भी खराब होता है, मान लो engine overheat हो गया. What do? You park the car on the side of the road, get off, call a mechanic, or maybe take a cab, go home, get the car towed to your house, anything. But aircraft में वो option होता नहीं है. इंजन खराब हो गया या कुछ भी इशू हो गया एयरक्राफ्ट में, वी कांट जस्ट पार्क द एयरक्राफ्ट ऑन द साइड, हवा में साइड में लगाया, उतरे, फ़ोन किया और कोई आके ठीक कर देगा जहाज़ को. दैट इज़ नॉट द ऑप्शन. व्हेन यू आर अप देयर इन द एयर, it's all on your shoulders, on the pilot's shoulders. It's our responsibility to get all the passengers and the aircraft down back to the ground in as safe a condition as possible. And that is what we are trained for. We undergo rigorous training during our initial flying days when we get our CPL license. Also, we have to undergo rigorous training again when we join an airline. Plus, we have continuous checks, continuous refreshers happening every 6 months, every year, and it's a continuous process where we keep ourselves updated, we keep on studying about the aircraft. So basically, the salary is not for what we do, but the salary is for what we have to do in case things go wrong, and that is exactly what we're trained for. So the next time you guys get on an aircraft and you see your pilot, probably thank them, tell them they're doing a good job, because they actually are. There are thousands of flights that take off and land every day absolutely safely. You have more chances of getting into a crash on your way to the airport in a car than on the aircraft going thousands of kilometers away. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys respect it's a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.